The sound of fireworks echoed throughout the streets, and the brilliant lights of the strings of lights twinkled on every house in the residential area, except for one. That house stood silently, like a silent witness to time. There was no sign of a pine tree, lanterns, or any sign of preparation for the new year. That was the house of Old Man Carl, where he had lived with his wife Ellie for 40 happy years. But since Ellie passed away at the end of last year, the house was left with only darkness and endless loneliness. On the last afternoon of the year, when the old man was sitting quietly on his familiar armchair, there was suddenly a knock on the door. He stood up lazily. Outside was a young neighbor boy with bright eyes. In his hand was a large, bright lantern, standing out in the evening that was gradually turning dark. "Sir, let's hang up this lantern. My mother said we need to have some New Year's atmosphere," the boy said innocently. The old man frowned, trying to politely refuse. "No need. There's no one in my house to look at these things." The boy refused to give up, his eyes looking up hopefully. "But sir, Mrs. Ellie loves lanterns. She told me that the new year is the beginning of living and loving more." The mention of Ellie was like an invisible knife that touched his heart. He snapped, his voice becoming stiff. "Stop talking, boy. You don't understand. These things only make me miss her more." The boy was surprised. He pursed his lips, didn't say anything more, and then left. But the boy's eyes, before turning back, contained disappointment that made the old man feel uneasy. He knew he had said too much, but he didn't know how to soothe his feelings and the boy's. Night fell. The old man sat by the window, his eyes silently watching the fireworks light up the sky. The light was beautiful, but also distant, like the distance between him and the outside world. Suddenly, his eyes fell on a strange object on the porch. It was a large box, carefully wrapped, with a small card attached. The familiar handwriting on the card made the old man's heart sink. "Open it, my Carl. A new year awaits you." His hands trembled as he opened the box. Inside were familiar New Year decorations, paper lanterns, red firecrackers, and an old notebook that he had thought he had lost. That notebook was the diary that Ellie had written in the last years of her life. Each page was a piece of memory, stories they shared, unfinished dreams, and messages from Ellie. On the last page, her handwriting was like a whisper from the past. "If you're reading this, it means I'm gone. But don't let missing you stop you from living. Do what I always wanted to do. Live each moment to the fullest, the way we did when we were young." The old man sat quietly in the dim light of the room. Emotions were overwhelming. Tears fell down his old, but still gentle face. The next morning, the neighbor boy appeared at his door again, holding a firework, and he asked timidly, "Sir, I'm sorry if I made you sad yesterday, but today is the last day of the year. Can we do something to cheer you up?" The old man looked up at the boy, his eyes softening. This time, he didn't refuse. "Okay, you're right. Ellie would be happy if you did this." The two of them began to decorate together. The old man took out old but meaningful items from the box. Lanterns were hung from the trees in front of the house, and red firecrackers were neatly arranged on the door. They wrote wishes on red ribbons. "I wish I could make Mr. Carl happier." And Mr. Carl wrote a thank you to Ellie for all the years they had together. As the clock struck midnight, the old man and the boy released a sky lantern into the sky. The lantern flew up, carrying a warm light into the sky filled with fireworks. The old man watched, as if he were sending a greeting to Ellie from somewhere far away. At that moment, he realized something important. Ellie had never really left. She lived on in the memories, in the moments they had shared. And now, she lived on through the connections he had with the world, through the smile and enthusiasm of the neighbor boy. The old man smiled for the first time in months. He put his hand on the boy's shoulder and said, "You know, Ellie used to say that New Year's is for starting over, not for regretting what has been lost. I thought, maybe I'll try to live like she said. Life is full of loss and pain, but the most important thing is to know how to love, connect, and move on. New Year's is not just a date on the calendar, but an opportunity for each of us to start over, to appreciate what we have, and to find meaning in each moment. Live, love, and let your loved ones live forever in your heart." In the sparkling light of the New Year's Eve fireworks, the old man realized that lost things are never truly gone. They live on in our memories, in our hearts, and in the way we continue to love. Pain is not the end, but a chapter in the journey of life, where we learn to let go, to move on. Like the lantern he released into the night sky, letting go does not mean forgetting, but gently letting the past fly high, carrying the love we once had to make room for new rays of light, more fulfilling beginnings. And just like that, in this life, true happiness does not lie in holding on to the past, but in how we are brave enough to open our hearts to welcome tomorrow. Learn to let go, to live on. Have you ever heard the story of the violinist on the Titanic? As the ship sank into the cold ocean, he still played one last piece, calm in chaos. Is he holding on to something, or has he let go to face the inevitable? Let's find out together. Is letting go a loss, or is it the only way to move on? Learning to let go sounds simple, but how many of us have ever found it easy? Like the old man in the story above, the pain of loss can make you stuck in a loop of memories. An empty chair, a familiar sentence, or even a passing scent, all become strings, pulling us back to the past. But as the neighbor boy said, New Year is to live on and love more. That's not just a child saying, but a valuable philosophy of life. Letting go is not forgetting, but learning to love differently. Imagine you're holding a glass of water. Holding it tightly for a long time, your hand will become tired. But when you let go, you don't lose the cup. You just let your hand rest to do something better. Letting go is the same. It's not about giving up the memory. It's about learning to live with it without letting it weigh down your heart. Many people say, "I can't let go because I'm afraid of losing everything." But do you know? Sometimes letting go is not a loss, but a gain. You are free, you are relieved, and most importantly, you are given a chance to start over. Remember the famous quote by Hermann Hesse: "Once you let something go, something new comes in and takes its place." Take a look at your life right now. Is there anything you are holding on to that you should let go of? Maybe it's an old relationship, a disappointment, or even an expectation you set for yourself. If you let go, you will have more room for love, for peace, for happiness. What do you think? What was the hardest thing to let go of in your life? And did you ever feel relieved when you finally let go? Share your story. Who knows? It might inspire someone else to move on. And if you find this content touching, don't forget to spread this meaningful story to more people. When the old man and his neighbor boy released a sky lantern into the sky on New Year's Eve. He realized that letting go is not forgetting, but learning to let love continue to spread. But it was the moment the neighbor boy stood beside him, his eyes shining and his little hands waiting for him to write a wish, that the old man understood more clearly. Happiness does not come from locking yourself in memories or holding on to pain, but from connecting with people around you. One sky lantern cannot light up the sky, but thousands of lanterns together will turn the darkness into a picture of hope. And in this life, it is the same. We cannot find the light ourselves without hands willing to share. So what brings you the greatest happiness? The things you keep to yourself, or the moments you give away? Happiness lies in sharing and connecting. Did you know that in a small village in Japan, there is a story that when a bowl breaks, people do not throw it away, but instead fix it by covering the cracks with gold? This not only makes the bowl more beautiful, but also increases its value. So why do we try to hide or throw away the cracks in our lives? Could it be that, like that bowl, true perfection comes from learning to accept and connect with the broken pieces? Happiness lies in sharing and connecting. Sounds like old advice, right? But think about it. When you feel the saddest, does a hug, a greeting, or even just a sympathetic nod from someone else have the power to heal? Like the old man in our story, his decision to open up to the neighbor boy was not only to let go of the pain of loss, but also to reconnect with life. Small joys, like decorating the house, lighting lanterns, or writing New Year wishes together, not only helped the old man overcome his loneliness, but also helped both of them, the old man and the boy, find peace from each other's company. The connection does not have to be grand or elaborate. Sometimes, it is as simple as asking about an old friend, sending a New Year's message, or sharing an emotional story in the comment section below this video. Such small actions, though seemingly insignificant, have the power to touch hearts and connect strangers. As the poet Rumi once said, "We are born in love." Life truly begins when we connect with it. Don't let the hustle and bustle of life make you forget that sharing is the source of happiness. When you give a smile or a word of encouragement, you not only bring light to others, but also light up your soul. Think about it. When was the last time you truly shared something with someone, not out of obligation, but simply because you wanted to connect? A compliment, a cup of coffee, or just a thank you. Do you realize that those moments often make you feel lighter and happier? How about you? What's the simplest thing you can do today to connect with someone? And if you find this content touching your heart, don't forget to like and subscribe and spread it to the people you love. Happiness, sometimes just one click to spread. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this story. In our storytelling journey, we have realized that nothing is more precious than connecting with you. People who are always willing to open up, reflect, and share their feelings. You make each story more vivid, deeper, and meaningful, not only for yourself, but for everyone who listens. Remember, life is a mosaic of small but precious moments. Every time you like a story, you are lighting up a ray of hope. Every time you share, you are sending a piece of love, helping others feel companionship. And every time you comment, you not only leave your mark, but can also become a source of inspiration to help others change their lives. So, can you share an inspiring quote or thought from today's story? Let us spread the good values with you, because who knows, One word you write may touch the hearts of millions of others.